And now, our feature presentation.
Our projections show that by the year 2025, not only America, but the entire planet will be under the protection and the dominion of this power alliance. The gains have been substantial, both for ourselves and for you, the human power elite.
What's that noise? We have $1 trillion war chest, and we are determined to use as much as necessary in that protecting the economy from the scarring of this crisis. We are mobilizing emergency financing assistance to countries, and I can tell you we have never seen ever such a growing demand for emergency financing. Already over 90 countries have been placing requests to the IMF for it. And this emergency financing is to underpin the appeal that you and I are putting out.
You have given us entree to the resources we need in our ongoing quest for multidimensional expansion. And in return, the per capita income of each of you here tonight has grown, in this year alone, by an average 39%.
And just from what I know from all of the institutions, all of the people I speak to, there is an enormous wall of money coming into this. It's an enormous wall of money. Just the pipes aren't there to allow people to do it yet. And that's coming, but it's on everybody's radar screen, and there's a lot of smart people working on it. So I think it's going to be not because the world's collapsing, it's because there's going to be adoption by the real large pools of capital.
Seeing investors I never saw before, hedge fund investors, high net worth investors, getting into Bitcoin for the first time. And so, like I said this in a tweet, this is the year for Bitcoin, and if it doesn't go up a lot by the end of the year, I think I might just hang my spurs. Because if it doesn't go up now, I'm not sure when it will, but we're seeing real flows into Bitcoin. It's a hard asset, and we are literally, it's not just the US that's going to monetize, but money doesn't grow on trees. And right now, it feels like we crossed the Rubicon where everyone feels like money grows on trees. I think the Fed's doing the wrong thing. It's just, we're going to debase the value of fiat.
So Mike, give us a number, and if we don't, just so we can gauge your level of expectation, where should it reach in 6 months? And if it doesn't, as you said, you'll kind of give up on Bitcoin. I think it's a really interesting swing there.
We should have doubled within 6 months. We really should.
This tornado just touched down. Well, we can see it from right here. It's ripping up trees. It's ripping up everything in its sight. If you're above ground, you need to get to a storm shelter or a safe place right now.
Well, if you look at the planning and the design and the competition, it's fluid right now. There's competition over what the design will be. It was very interesting. I won't bore you with all the details, but I had an incredible experience in Denmark a year ago, and I was trying to figure out what's going on in Denmark. They had one of the tech firms in Denmark was being paid by the U.S. Navy to come up with a chip that could be implanted in the human body that would integrate with Ripple. Yeah. So Ripple is a crypto, and it's one that's gotten a lot of promotion from the American establishment, in my experience, just my impression. So why is the U.S. Navy paying a Danish tech company to come up with an implantable chip that will integrate with Ripple? Exactly. I think they absolutely want much better digital currencies.
And you can't give 7 billion people Bitcoin accounts because it's just too slow. But they can use crypto. Well, not a distributed ledger that's global. That will not work. And it's because of the whole nature of the concept of Bitcoin, which is like gold, which is a thing that you have to mine, and you have to track it from point to point to point, and supposedly you have to keep track of it. And all these computers, it already takes as much computing power to do one transaction or it takes as much electricity as a household uses in a day, and this is for a very small portion of the money supply. But I would say that the whole cryptography idea is great, and what has come off of blockchain is great. But the first generation of this model is not going to work. The banks themselves are not looking at blockchain. Well, Satoshi Nakamoto never used the term blockchain, so it's not really clear what a blockchain is. But they looked at blockchain at first, meaning a distributed ledger that was global, and they decided that it was too slow. And so now what they're using is something they're using Ripple, which is a series of blockchains or a series of ledgers, which is what banks do anyway. They clear ledgers within their own bank, and then at the next level they clear them at the level of the Federal Reserve, and at the next level they clear them through the SWIFT system. So this cryptography that they're looking at and using and liking is very efficient. It's good for everybody. It's cheaper. You don't have to have all these middlemen. But it is not literally a universal distributed ledger, which actually won't work.
Specifically on cryptocurrencies, we are spending a lot of time on this on both an interagency basis and with the regulators. We're about to roll out some significant new requirements at FinCEN. We want to make sure that technology moves forward, but on the other hand, we want to make sure that cryptocurrencies aren't used for the equivalent of old Swiss secret number bank accounts. So we share your concerns, and you'll be seeing a lot of work coming out very quickly.
As you suggested, rival nations are working very diligently to have an alternative to the dollar. And while they can't beat us as a currency, they can add features because there is a demand for digital access to banking services, to payments. And I think it's very important that we get ahead of the curve to ensure that the dollar continues to offer the best currency in the world, the most respected, the most utilized, and we need fintech innovation to keep us going in the right direction and to be a leader instead of passively observing what other countries might do.
Question about legislation. I know there's discussion about a phase 4, but are you also looking seriously at a second round of direct payments? And are you putting discussions on a potential phase 4 on hold for now while you pursue that?
Well, I was opposed to the way of distribution, money distribution through, as you know, unemployment and through the state offices, because they have very old, not all of them, but many of them have 40-year-old equipment, as I've said, and it makes it very difficult. But that's what that's what they want to do. That's the way it's mandated to do. I thought it would be better if we did a direct payment system, but the Democrats really wanted it, and I think they had some help from a couple of people that I would have, had I spoken to them, I would have convinced them otherwise, I really believe. But it's getting out, and the federal government has done its job. All we can do is give this massive amount of money to the states. The states then are responsible to distribute it, a little bit like we're talking about here. But the money will be right on time from the federal government. Then the states have to do their job in getting it out.
There need to be a second round of those payments.
We could very well do a second round of direct. I would do it direct.
That under serious discussion.
It is absolutely under serious consideration.
Please step to the transmission platform.
That's where it come from.
All carry-on luggage must be held securely. Thank you for waiting, and we hope you have a pleasant trip.
The main point that I want to make is that ILP is a micropayment technology. Over 1 billion ILP payments in 2018. And there's a reason that's important. You can do everything with a micropayment. Micropayments are kind of like packets. If you think about the way the internet works, it sends a packet to its destination with the best effort. ILP does the same thing. The smarts are at the endpoints, and the same thing is true with ILP. So if I want to send somebody $100, I can just sort of start streaming money at them, and when it gets to $100, I can stop. And that is better for a number of reasons. If you're going to make a payment in one shot, you need to get a quote. But do you get a free quote, or do you pay for the quote? If you get a free quote, it's going to be a terrible quote because you've got a free option. If you're going to pay for the quote, how many quotes do you pay for? Do you just pay for one and then take it? Do you pay for 5 quotes and only take one of them? When you stream micropayments, when you make payments by micropayments, you can stream that payment through multiple forwarders, and those individual forwarders can stream that payment through multiple forwarders, and you can take advantage of that best path. And if the path is really good, you can stream money faster. And if the path is really bad, you can stream money more slowly. And the net effect is that you can manage a payment as a series of micropayments. And I know that sounds kind of crazy to you guys today, but if we lived in the circuit switch days of telecom, packet switch, like sending a telephone call over packet switching would sound just as crazy, but it's just as innovative. If we can develop micropayments that are as cheap as a DNS request, micropayments can take over the world. We can put all of the world's payments on a modern payment platform that interoperates between both blockchain and non-blockchain value. Interledger payments plus digital assets could be that internet of value, that way to move value all around the world. Thank you.